Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we happened to do more exploration and that sort of stuff. Explored around the entire area here and made it into the fort here. Handed in the package we had to deliver, and got out just in time to watch the town explode. Yeah, that happened. Not good. We should probably get in there and check for survivors. Yeah, Yeah, let's see if anyone survived. And now you see the destruction up close for the first time. Truth be told, it's not as bad as it looked from a distance, as bits of the many buildings are still standing, though most look ready to collapse. At this end of the town, what once served as an open plaza has become a makeshift meeting place for survivors. A fire burns merrily in the center of the plaza, contrasting sharply with the ruined and scorched buildings. The survivors themselves look like the shock hasn't worn off yet, and understandably so. Some are asleep, some are sobbing, and some are just staring into the fire, just looking defeated. A few of them notice your arrival, but fewer seem to care. You've got a bad feeling that a lot remains to be done here. Okay, I guess we should speak with all of them. We'll start here. You think you recognize this man. After a moment you realize that it's Carl, the innkeeper whom you met when you first arrived in Hectos. It's kind of hard to tell beneath all of the dust and ash which covers his clothing.
Hello, friends. Sorry I can't offer much in the way of hospitality right now, but the inn's out of commission, as you can see. Was there something you wanted to talk to me about?
Are you okay? Carl simply grimaces and slowly extends a leg covered in painful-looking scars and burns. He probably won't be walking very much for a while.
What do you think? As if that weren't enough, the inn's leveled. It'll be months before I can get it rebuilt, and I'll be out of business for at least a year. Even if I do get back into business, this town won't exactly be drawing any travelers for a while. Oh well, at least I'm still alive. And my dog got out of it too.
Is there anything we can do for you?
Well, now that you mention it, I've been wondering just how much of my supplies survived. Something's got to be left in the cellar.
He casts a glance over towards the ruins of the inn, looking thoughtful.
I think there's some wine and ale down there, and I doubt all of it was crushed. I'll give you 15 coins for each bottle you can salvage from the cellar.
He takes a key on a chain from around his neck and tosses it to you.
There's also a locker down there with a bottle of some fine Solarian wine in it. I'll give you 100 coins if you can bring that back. If it survived, that is.
Have you heard anything about who could have done this? Carl looks at you incredulously. He gestures at the ruins surrounding him.
This? All of this? You've got to be kidding me. I'm just an innkeeper. I hear little inconsequential rumors, not detailed sabotage plans. Whoever did it, they're sick, and they need to be put out of their misery. Look at us. Our lives will never be the same here. We can't rebuild what we've lost, not with all this trauma.
Spark is still here, and you're just a bit surprised that he survived. Pet the dog. Spark shies away from you when you try to pet him. He's probably still a bit nervous from the explosions. Shoo the dog away. Spark slinks away, looking incredibly unhappy. Wait, we got 2 quests? Oh right, the wine and the Solarian wine. You were a little surprised to see Samuel here, given how drunk he was when you saw him last. He must have barely staggered out of the inn in time. Unsurprisingly, he looks a little roughed up, including a badly dented helmet.
I remember you, right? You're the people who did the thing, aren't you?
Are you alright? Samuel stares at you with a glazed look in his eyes for a moment.
No, I'm not alright. Did you think I would be after having a town collapses around my ears? I had this big board fall on my head when I was trying to get out of what's that word? Oh right, inn.
Is there anything we can do to help you? Samuel leers at nothing in particular for a while before speaking.
Well, I've been getting the feeling that my commander'd like to know just where's I am right now and that I'm still kinda alive.
He tries to regain his composure and fails. Unfazed, he continues.
And since I couldn't look him straight in the eye right now, I'd very much appreciate it if you could go tell him my story. Could you do that for me?
Sure, we can do that.
You're great people, you know that?
He takes a long look at you, though he has a hard time focusing.
And even the ones of you that aren't people, you're all good peoples too. You've got my thanks. My commander's name is Newman. Lieutenant Newman. And don't forget to tell him that he's a rotten bastard.
And with that, he passes out. Samuel's still here, and he's still as drunk as the last time you saw him, if not more so.
Hello again, friends.
Wait, how many of you are there? He stares at you for a minute.
Never mind.
We're trying to find who did this to Hector, so would you be willing to help us?
You can't be serious. I can barely stand up right now, and I can't talk the right way around right now. Even I tried to scare some bandit, he'd be off with my pants before I could bat a stirrup.
Well, it was worth a shot. This woman looks ready to burst into tears. She doesn't appear to be anyone of importance, just someone who was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. She manages to gain control of herself long enough to greet you half-heartedly. What's wrong? She chokes for a moment, visibly fighting down tears. When she finally speaks, she does so quietly. My husband, he... She trails off into silence, and you can guess the rest of the sentence. Is there anything we can do to help? Well, there is one thing. She falls silent for a moment and just stares into the fire. After a moment, she snaps back to reality. A necklace that my husband gave to me before our wedding. It's somewhere in our house, and I can't bring myself to go in there. If you can bring it back to me, I'd be forever indebted. We can do that. The woman's face lights up for a moment. You hate to admit it, but that's almost a reward in itself. Our house is right next to where the mayor's office used to be. Be careful when you're in there, because what's left might collapse. Got it. Irakos sits here, looking much like he did before, just more depressed. He recognizes you, but doesn't seem all that enthused about talking right now.
What?
Are you okay? Irakos makes a choking sound and turns away from you for a moment. He coughs a few times and turns back to you.
No. What do you think? My wife is dead, and I've got 2 lungs full of smoke and ash.
Irakos sees your confused looks and then sighs.
When one of the blasts went off outside the building we were in, my wife Mihaly was down in the forge. I think the ground collapsed enough to have trapped her down there. I don't know if she survived.
Is there anything we can do to help you? Irakos shakes his head sullenly.
Unless you can rescue my wife Mihaly from down in the forge. I'd do it myself, but I can barely walk right now. Every time I try to, I just get short of breath and fall over. Hell, I don't even know if she's still alive right now, but since you're here, you can go and see. Then I can at least be sure.
You used to make weapons?
Yep, like I told you before, Mihaly and I used to make weapons and armor in our forge, and then we'd sell them in the shop above the forge. But now, it's all been ruined. It'll be months before I'm back in business. Kinda makes me all wistful for the good old days. Enjoy your adventure while it lasts.
Did any of your stock survive the blast?
I bet everything was either broken or buried when the building collapsed. The only intact pieces I've found are spear points and a couple of sword hilts. I own 1 full blade, but I'll need to reattach it to something. Of course, I haven't been able to get down into the forge yet, but I bet that I won't be able to rebuild my stock for months.
Used to be an adventurer? You could travel with us? Irakos takes a moment to think before he responds.
You I know I would enjoy it, and I really want to take down the bastard who did this to Hector's, but I can't leave until I know what happened to Mihaly.
Of course. Will is still here and is still staring at the fire. He acknowledges your presence with a nod, but doesn't say anything. Are you okay?
Yeah, I got kinda lucky. A ball bounced off my head as I was running out of my house, and my helmet probably saved me from a split skull. And I didn't get nearly as many burns as everyone else. I know that a blast went off just to the west of my house, but I think it was less violent than the others that went off. So whoever wanted us all dead screwed up on me. Considering how nervous he seemed before, Will has calmed down considerably. You wonder if whatever he was waiting for had to do with the blast. Is there anything we can do for you? Will pauses to think for a moment. Well, unless you feel like rebuilding my house, there's really nothing. I'm alive, and that's all I care about.
Mitch is still here, but now lacks the fishing gear you first saw him with. He looks slightly less at ease than the last time you spoke with him, but that's not much of a surprise.
Hello again, folks. You sure missed a lot here.
Are you okay? Mitch shifts uneasily, and you notice that he seems to be favoring his left leg.
Well, yes and no. I'm alive, so that's good, but when the buildings behind me exploded, I was knocked into the lake. Pretty sure that my right leg hit a big rock. Either way, it hurts like hell now. But it's not a huge problem. I know where I can get some good healing. I'll probably be heading out there sometime soon.
We could heal you.
You're kind for offering, but I'll pass. Besides, I've been meaning to pay those people a visit for a while.
Despite more attempts, Mitch refuses to tell you who he's talking about.
Is there anything we can do for you?
Well, thank you for offering, but I think I'm doing just fine now. I just need to find my fishing gear, and then I'll be heading out of here. But my gear fell into the lake when I got knocked over by that blast. Then again, I don't really need the stuff. I'll pick up some more later.
Well, did you catch any fish?
Yep, but after the blast, I took the fish that hadn't been blown back into the lake and gave them to the rest of the survivors.
I don't have any left right now, but I'll catch some soon. When you try to talk to this woman, she just bursts into tears. Nothing you say calms her down, and even when she stops sobbing, she just stares woodenly into the fire. Well, at least you know where the blast came from. This crater definitely wasn't here before. The bottom is filled with debris, and you see what appears to be a few shards of metal embedded in the sides. Looks like whoever set off these blasts buried them, if shallowly. This building, well, it looks like it used to be 2 houses. Now it's just one big empty shell with a few fragments of wall supporting a few meager sections of roof. Debris coats the floor, and it still smolders in a few places. The town storeroom has been completely torched, most likely due to the crater outside the east wall. The only thing left standing is a fragile-looking table. A few piles of debris are still smoking. They smell bad. Oh dear. These docks haven't been hit as hard as the rest of the town. It just looks that a few sections were knocked into the lake by debris. Any boats that may have been docked here are gone. It's pretty easy to tell what happened to this house. The crater out by the southwest corner explains everything. Seems like the blast here actually carved a hole straight through the building and that the rest of the damage was collateral. To make the wreckage even more dour, there's a body in the middle of the wreckage. This body is charred beyond recognition. Looks like it was wearing armor before. Regrettably, the armor is ruined. This building looks like it's about ready to collapse. All of the walls are scorched and cracked, and a thick layer of rubble covers the floor. A body lies in the middle of the wreckage. This body is charred beyond recognition. Looks like whoever this was might have been wearing some sort of armor, but it's been melted and warped beyond use. Of course, you'd never even think of stealing the armor off of a freshly dead innocent. Always look around the outside first, is how I roll. It's not a huge surprise, but City Hall was hit the worst. It's barely even a shell at this point. In fact, parts of the building are still smoking. You'd be worried if only there was anything substantial left to fall on you. Well, the mayor's still here. This body has been charred beyond recognition, but you would guess that it's the Empire official you saw waiting to meet with the mayor. You're never going to be sure exactly why the mayor disliked this man. Perhaps it's for the best. It's been a while since you saw Mayor Anderson, but he somehow looks even worse than before. He's covered in soot, and parts of his body are badly scorched.
Welcome to what's left of Hector's adventurers. What do you want?
How did you make it out of the blast? He turns to face the smoking pile of rubble that used to be his office.
Quite honestly, I shouldn't be alive. I just walked out of the office after deciding to take a break from my paperwork. I was going to grab something to drink at the inn, and I heard that rumbling sound that came before the explosion. I could hear the sound all around me, so I started walking a little faster. When the buildings around me exploded, I was knocked all the way into the lake. I got burned pretty badly, but none of the debris hit me, so I got off lucky.
With how big that explosion looked from across the lake, you can only think that this man is a walking miracle. Did anyone else get out? You remember seeing an Empire official in the lobby of the mayor's office, and you can't help but wonder if he got out alive. Mayor Anderson just shakes his head.
You remember that Empire servant waiting outside my office? He was killed in the blast.
He says this with more enthusiasm than you're comfortable with. You wouldn't quite call the faint smile on his face maniacal, but it's close. And after seeing what he already thought of the man, you're not all that surprised by this display. All of this behavior nicely matches the rants and outbursts against the Empire that you heard from the mayor before. You're still not quite sure what to make of it. You really do hate the Empire, don't you? A hunted look crosses the mayor's face for a moment, and he unsuccessfully tries to shrug it off. You're not sure why, as he hasn't really tried to hide his hatred of the Empire. He recovers his composure.
Well, as you know, I disagree with a number of the Empire's policies, but this is on the grounds that they are bad for the people. I hold no personal grudges.
He hastily adds this last bit with an insecure-looking smile. The mayor is starting to worry you, to say the least. Why are you out in the rubble? The mayor shrugs.
I just thought that something might have survived the blast. Anything, really. It's just kind of hard to believe that all the paperwork that made my life hell disappeared so easily. And of course, there was even more in storage below the office proper. I even had a room to myself down there, just a place to collapse after a round of tariff forms.
He absent-mindedly kicks over a blackened stone. He finds more blackened stones. Your office had a basement.
Oh yes, it wasn't all that great really. The roaches were starting to get organized and it was generally dank, but it was familiar. And before you ask, I can't tell you how to access it. I don't know why you'd even want to really, it's probably collapsed in by now, and I don't think I had anything valuable down there.
Mayor Anderson looks just as bad as he did before. He still walks among the debris, occasionally stopping to sift through a pile of dust and crumbled rock.
What is it?
Is there anything we can do for you? The mayor gestures toward the rubble around him.
Well, you can help us all by searching the rubble for anything of use. As I remember telling you, that's why I'm out here in the first place. There's the matter of food in that we don't have much left. The town storeroom was destroyed. We could really use some grain. Surely there's someone in the valley who can help us. Find that person if you can. There's the matter of honoring those who died in the blast. We haven't found or recovered any of the bodies yet, mostly because we've all been a little jittery, to say the least. If you could help us with this, we'd be very grateful. Finally, there's the issue of relief from the Empire. I think we need it, though I don't like admitting it. Go speak with the commanders at Fort Galima and see if we can get some aid from Blackcrag. A lot remains to be done before we can really begin rebuilding Hector's.
Do you have any idea who could have done this?
I can't imagine who would do this to us.
The mayor says stiffly, his eyes not leaving the piles of debris surrounding him.
Whoever it is, I want them punished. They can't get away with this, and I want you to find the culprit and slay them on the spot.
You can't meet your eye when he says this last part. He goes back to kicking around the rubble, unwilling to continue the conversation. The body is still here and it's beginning to smell pretty bad. Do you take the body back? That's interesting. We can actually search in the rubble for things. Sifting through the debris in this shattered house, you're surprised to find an intact necklace. Somehow it still sparkles despite the ash and dust that coat it. This might be the necklace that you were asked to find for the distraught townswoman. You feel like you should return it, even though it looks rather valuable. Thanks to your knowledge of item lore, you can tell that the necklace has some sort of enchantment on it. That'd make it even more valuable. Maybe, but we're not going to rob her after all this. Yeah, take the body back. Jeweled ring. Too heavy. Oh, the bodies we're carrying. Yeah, take the body back. We recovered a body. You show Mayor Anderson the body you recovered and he grimaces a little.
Right, just bring it over here,
He says, motioning to a space of clear earth behind the inn. As you walk over to the side with the mayor, he picks up a few shovels that were leaning up against the inn. When you'd arrived in this valley, you never thought you'd end up digging graves, but here you are. In a little over an hour, you and the mayor finish the grave and drag a makeshift headstone onto it.
Thank you for your help. I wish I could help more, but I just don't have the manpower at my disposal,
The mayor says flatly, walking back to the ruins of the town. This leaves you standing uncomfortably near the freshly dug grave. Putting the ruins behind you, you're not sure what to do. There's clearly something behind all of this, but you're no closer to figuring it out. Then a thought strikes you. If there's anybody in the valley who will know what's going on, it'll be the Empire. Who knows, maybe they won't lock you out this time. Yeah, but we still have more to do. For example, we have 2 more bodies. There. 3 bodies. And we have this necklace for the woman. We've got your necklace. You did? You did! Surprising everyone nearby, particularly you, she jumps up and hugs you. I don't have anything to give you in return, just my gratitude. You made this a little less painful, and I can't thank you enough for that. After saying this, she sits back down and just looks at the necklace for a while. Alright. Let's head into the, This building has been just about flattened. A few tiny segments of wall remain standing, including some blown-out windows. The only thing left intact is an anvil. The forge seems to have sunken a bit in places, but it still feels warm. So if nothing else, the forge is probably intact. Pair of gloves. Broken sword. I like this idea that you can actually look through the rubble like this. For anything that might have survived. Alright. Alright, let's go underneath, see if we can find her. This trapdoor, while thoroughly blackened, appears to be intact, except that the lock was knocked off the door by the blast. If you recall correctly, there's a forge under here. Do you descend? Yes. As you descend into what should be the forge, you're suddenly struck by a powerful wave of hot air. So if nothing else, you know that the forge is still somewhat operational. You also see Miali lying in the middle of the floor. She looks like she's hurt pretty badly. You should probably see if she's still alive. Miali lies on the ground and she still appears to be unconscious. Unfortunately, it looks like she was injured pretty badly. You should probably do something to heal her. Use priestly magic. You try to cast a healing spell, fairly certain that there won't be any room for error here. It doesn't take all that long until the spell is complete. If it worked, Miali should wake up any moment now. Try to wake her. After trying gentle nudges, yelling, and shaking her, you finally just pull out a water skin and pour some water on her face. She wakes with a start and quickly sits bolt upright. Shortly after this, she clutches her head and moans a bit. Who are you? She asks, clearly a little disoriented. She must have been knocked around a bit when the blast hit. You explain who you are and what you think happened to her. She seems to understand well enough.
I thought I recognized you from somewhere. Rackers will definitely want to speak with you. Anyway, I think I can get myself out of here, as long as you help me up.
Help her up. You carefully help Miali to her feet. Luckily, it seems that her legs are perfectly fine and she'll be able to get out under her own power. As she walks over to the ladder, she reminds you to speak with her husband, Arakos. Then she climbs up and out of the forge, leaving you alone and in the dark. On the whole, you feel that this could have been a lot worse. I expected she'd be dead. I'm glad she's not. An iron pike. I don't think that's actually useful to us. No, we've got a steel pike. Alright. Yeah, climb out the ladder. Oh, he's gone. Arakos is still here, but he looks happier than anyone else around the fire. Really, he looks a bit out of place, but he doesn't seem to care.
What can I do for you?
We saved Miali. Ooh, level ups. For all of us. As you start telling the story of what transpired in the forge, Arakos holds up a hand to silence you.
Miali already told me. I don't need to hear it again. All I care is that things are a little closer to normal again, and I can't thank you enough for that. While I don't have much to offer, I can give you this.
He pulls a beautifully crafted pike from under the rough pad he'd been sitting on and hands the weapon to you.
Quite possibly my finest work, and I want you to have it. I won't be using it anymore. My adventuring days are over. I'm going to stay here with Miali and rebuild our lives.
What are you and Miali going to do now?
Well, right now I won't be doing much. Miali's going to work on healing all of us until we're ready to start rebuilding the town, and eventually the two of us will clean up the forge and set up shop again. But between you and me, I've half a mind to go yell at the local bureaucrats to get their sorry asses down here to help us as soon as I'm able.
Steel pike. Ooh. +1 to endurance. Yep, that's better than this steel pike, which can be sold. And it's valuable, so it's worth it to sell. It's encouraging to see somebody in this town who isn't taking the attack lying down, even though the last time you saw her she was nearly dead. Miali is busy checking out the other survivors when you get her attention. Ah, it's you again. I'm glad to see you're still doing fine, unlike everyone else here. I have a lot of people to heal. Are you doing any better? Well, you folks did a good job of healing me. I owe you a lot for that, but I can tell them that I'm going to lose a bit of my mobility in my right leg unless I keep working at it myself. She reaches down to one of the nastier scars on her legs and rubs a hand over it. The wound begins to glow a pale blue, but the light recedes after a moment. It'll be little spells like this that'll save me a lot of trouble until I'm fully healed. Is there anything we can do to help? No, I'm fine for the moment, thanks. Besides, you've done enough for me lately. I can tell that you've got much more important things to take care of. You're healing the survivors. Miali shrugs. Why not? I do have some training in the healing arts, after all. What? Why can't I heal them? I'm easily the most able out of anyone here. The only thing I have to worry about is running out of energy, and that's not a difficult problem, even after that scare into the forge. It's not like anybody else is about to help them. Well, we could help them too. Don't be silly, you've got much better things to do, like find out who blew up our town. I used to be an adventurer, you know. I can tell when something big is happening, and it's happening right now. Whenever something big happens, people are always in place to take care of it one way or another. You are those people today, so go find the bastard who did this to us. What are you and Arrakis going to do now? Well, as soon as Arrakis is back to full strength, I expect we'll start rebuilding the town. But right now, we're just all going to try and live through the day. After all, the Empire probably won't get here for months. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Empire bureaucracy, huh? Alright. Oh! Body charred beyond recognition. Anything the person might have been carrying has either been crushed or burned. I didn't even notice that body. Well, I guess we'll be bringing that body in. Hold on. No. In fact, let's bring it to him right now. We recovered another body. As you re-enter what was once the sunken cow, your immediate reaction is to look up at what remains of the roof. Some of the rafters still look stable, and those that look unstable aren't supporting anything anymore. Piles of roof tiles cover the floor, along with a few fallen timbers. Tables have been crushed, chairs have been splintered, and countless bottles have been broken. There's even a body lying on the floor, which you could have detected by the smell alone. Wow, a pillow actually survived. Well, there's the body. Alright, let's take the body back. We recovered another body, so that's 5 bodies we found in here. Alright, excuse me. This trapdoor, while thoroughly blackened, appears to be intact, except that the lock was knocked off the door by the blast. Yeah, descend to the inn cellar. Unsurprisingly, the cellar of the Sunken Cow has been trashed a bit. The ceiling held up surprisingly well. At least it's mostly in one piece, and the 2 giant pillars that hold it up are intact. Anyway, thick layers of dust coat everything, and the floor is littered with small rocks and bits of broken boards. Finding anything down here is going to be difficult, but mostly just because the cellar is so poorly organized. Search everything. You search the debris, but find nothing. No, I'm not climbing the ladder yet. Find meal, sacks of meal, sack of meal. Okay, risky. Okay, that didn't work. Then how do we get over there? Search debris, I'm finding a rock, finding only rubble. I'm not finding anything. Oh wait, we found 4 bottles of wine. Oh, I get it. Sadly, I can't get back there, it seems. I mean, we are finding wine bottles by just continually looking. There's got to be a way to get back there, but I don't know how. Hell, they have sacks of meal, but wait a minute. If we pick those up... Nope, that didn't do anything. Yeah, climate. At the very least, we found some wine. We've brought back some bottles. Carl looks over the bottles and fishes around in his pockets for a small patch of coins. He counts out the right amount and hands it to you with a flourish.
Thank you, friends. This might help me get back on my feet a bit quicker. And if that fails, I can drink the pain away.
And is there anything in here that isn't paper? Huh, carved stone spiral. Interesting. This probably used to be a statue, but the blast smoothed any distinguishing features away. As you look closer, you notice what appears to be a hinge. It joins what may have been a finger to what was probably an arm. Out of curiosity, you poke it. The entire statue crumbles into dust, revealing a trapdoor under what used to be the statue's base. Well, we've found our way down into the basement of this. I guess we can take a quick look. Under a thin layer of rubble from the crumbled statue, you find a trapdoor with an impressive-looking lock on it. Regrettably, you don't seem to have a key that fits it. You found a trapdoor in the ruins, and it's locked. The mayor looks a little surprised by this news.
Really? I didn't think that would have survived the blast. That's the door leading to the city's records as well as my personal quarters. Please, please, please don't go down there. It's not safe anymore. I'm certain that the whole thing's just going to cave in once the lake water gets into it.
You try to reason with him, detailing your experience with such matters, but he flatly refuses to listen.
I'm not giving you the key to that door. I don't want any more deaths coming from this atrocity.
Okay, then. And after all our hunting is done, it looks like that's going to have to be the end of this episode. I guess next episode we'll leave town, because there's not much else we can do in here, I think. So next episode, I think we'll probably head north. Till then, I'm Chester24, that's Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.